Hello, today for review I've got yet another recently released model by FiiO. Now it's their new single balanced armature in-ear monitors named FA1. Their price is about $100 and in this case FiiO really proved that they sometimes can go against the typical marketing approaches, because FA1 is really strong competitor for their FA7 that costs 3 times more. Of course, FA7 offers in some aspects better sound, but FA1 is definitely good. Well, probably it's a spoiler, but anyway, they decided to use similar shells and they created a really good competitive single balanced armature model. If you are interested, now let's have a closer look. Box is really stylish. It's made of thick cardboard, white color, minimalistic polygraphy. I don't know why FiiO doesn't put everything in such boxes, but it looks really great. It was wrapped in plastic and there is no technical specifications, but actually 15 ohms of impedance and 111 decibels of sensitivity is the most important figures. Inside we've got in earphones themselves. In here you will have manual and plastic box with accessories. So with FA1 you will have this cleaning brush and set of tips, actually 2 sets of 3 pairs each. As you can see, with wider bores and with narrower bores, and actually plastic case, 3 pair of tips and in-ear monitors. For this price range I can say probably it's pretty good. Maybe they could put something more, but this plastic case, it's really good. In terms of design and build quality, FA1 is really close to FA7, and if you liked FA7 but can't afford to spend so much, FiiO got you covered and you can have FA1. They using probably same material, same 3D printing process, a bit different faceplates. As you can see, those are with some wave pattern, a bit different from FA7, but pretty close. There are versions in this gray smoke version, and also there is version with red right earpiece and blue left one. They have really good ergonomic shape and they fitting into ears really nicely, because because shape is really well thought. It's smooth, no sharp edges, nothing will irritate your ear or prevent wearing. As you can see, spouts have medium length, but it's enough to provide average sound isolation, even a bit above average. There is no protective grill, but there is a lip to hold the tips, and they will fit nicely into ears with proper angle, and you will have a good seal. Of course, ears are different, but anyway, I think those will be very comfortable for vast majority of people, even during long periods of wearing. Just take a look at this wavy pattern. Cable is simpler than stock cable for FA7, but I think it's expected, but because FiiO definitely want to cut some costs, but anyway, cable is pretty okay. It's the same cable we've seen with F9 and F9 Pro, for example. It has MMCX connectors, pretty tight ones, so they're holding really good. There is ear hooks format, no memory wire inside, so you can't bend it, but it's still providing pretty nice secure positioning of cables behind your ears. Cable itself is simple, It's thin, but it's actually not getting hard when it's cold. It can be a bit tangling, but it's soft and it has no microphonic effect. Under the splitter, 4 wires go way down below to the regular jack. They've got this rubber seam to wind the cable. It's pretty convenient. You just wind it and then you can simply clip it. When you got used to it, it allows you to quickly prepare your in-ear monitors for storing. It's really convenient invention. And actually I think in this price range the design and build quality is great. Cable is simple, but anyway you can definitely spend a bit extra. FiiO got more fancy cables, but actually this one is pretty good sonically, so I don't see much sense in trying different cables, only if you want better looking cable, because in terms of usability and sound this one is really good. And of course about the sound. You know, honestly I didn't expect such a good sound from single balanced armature model, and you know, I didn't expect that FiiO will create such a good sound for the price 3 times less than their recently released 4 balanced armature driver flagship FA7. You know, marketing laws are really rule the market nowadays, and they should probably release something worse in terms of sound signature. But of course, as a customer, I am really satisfied with FA1 and I really like them. In terms of general probably I need to tell a few words about the tips. You definitely need to find the proper tips because the white ones are more balanced, probably they offers more mid and frequencies and treble, and gray tips offers a bit more low frequencies, making them sound a bit warmer and a bit less detailed. But it's a matter of preferences, what signature do you want, and of course you should find the proper size of tips to get the best fit. Actually I got better results with not so deep fit, a bit shallower, so that's why I use the biggest white tips with them, and I need to position them in ear to get the best seal and best sound. But after that I really like their representation. They are a bit V-shaped with slight accent on low frequencies and on the treble, but you know, difference isn't big. Overall difference between mids and trebles and bass on the frequency response charts are about 10 decibels. I think that it's a moderate V-shaped. In this in-ear monitors used Knowles ED33357. It's really good balanced armature that Knowles customized for different customers, offering a bit different tuning, so other models with this driver could sound a bit different, but for the FA1 FiiO and Knowles found the proper recipe. It's like, you know, the best kind of tuning, at least for me. It's detailed as balanced armatures, but it's still a bit on warmer side, but with a slight accent on treble, you know, to highlight all the best parts of the sonic spectrum, of the general representation of these in-ear monitors. So let's have some dub on the table. Of course, FiiO's M6 is great with them. I think FiiO should create some bundle probably. You know, most affordable models from FiiO are really good recently. And so back to the sound of those. Bass is a bit highlighted, a bit accented. Of course it's not a dynamic driver in terms of weight, but you know, it's surprisingly deep because usually single balanced armature models are lacking depth. And anyway, it's pretty deep and it has enough weight, and actually probably weight is a bit less than for dynamic drivers, but it has enough rumble and enough tightness probably to provide pretty enjoyable experience. Even with electronic music, at least to my taste, I usually use something like Die Antwoord or the Prodigy Diesel Power to test that. Of course, you know, it's not, I don't know what good models are with dynamic drivers. It's not the Campfire Audio Solaris that I've tested recently in terms of bass weight and impact. So it's not a model for bass heads, for those who like to get nose bleeding because of low frequencies, but it's still pretty good and solid bass. Especially it shines on the with some real instruments, with acoustic bass, with bass guitar and so on. So it really has great texturing, it has a normally balanced weight. I really like it, it's enjoyable and pretty musical. And you know, it's not super dry like it often happens with balanced armatures. So what I've got as an examples, let me remember it. Favorites. Yep. David Gilmour, The Girl in the Yellow Dress. Really good track. I like Gilmour's solo works and I like this track, and it has good acoustic bass intro with this in-ear monitors. It sounds really enjoyable, really realistic, that I can probably only dream about in this price range. Well, of course, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's still enjoyable and definitely realistic. Mids are a bit recessed, it's typical for the V-shaped signature, so, you know, male vocal can sound a bit hollower than, for example, in FA7, but it still has normal weight. Maybe I'd like a bit more weight, but it's still pretty good. It has great resolution, of course, it balanced armatures. Well, maybe not great, but good, because for great resolution you need more drivers. So good resolution with really nice representing of emotions, with good amount of realism, with nice accent on the upper mid that gives female vocals a slight hint of presence, and it sounds really enjoyable, and I really like them. So it's, you know, it's like really good, so they sound like really good balanced armatures. Of course, what I'm missing with multi-driver models is a coherence. There is no places where different drivers and different bands overlap, impacting each other, so it's really coherent sound in ear monitors. What I've got as an example, actually this time I remember that. Let me move back, a bit unusual, but it's Led Zeppelin Immigrant Song. I think you can understand why I named this song. Really intense, really a bit aggressive, really forward, and require a good resolution because it's pretty fast. And FA1 really nails this song without any problems. Speaking about imaginary stage, they are a bit above average both in width and in depth, with good three-dimensional effects. Not the most spacious ones, but still, you know, pretty enjoyable and one of the most spacious in this price range. And treble, it's also, you know, tuned nicely. They put spikes and dips in the proper places, so you will have normal extension, not super extended. Of course, don't expect this great extension of multi-balanced armature drivers, but it still has normal realism. Of course, attacks and decays are a bit faster than they should be. It's also, you know, all this features in sound, they are not issues, it's just a feature, it's what you should expect from single balanced armatures, and actually that's why multi-driver balanced armatures exists. For example, if you need better treble extension, you should put at least second balanced armature. If you need better attacks and decays, you should put another balanced armature with proper treble, because wideband balanced armatures are, usually mid focused and low focused, but in this case treble is nice. It's really has good realism, it has good speed, good resolution. It's not fatiguing. They tuned it perfectly, at least to my taste. If you are treble phobic or super sensitive to the treble, probably they can be a bit too sparkling for you, but for my taste they are really nicely. Treble here balancing lows really impressively, and I like this sense of realism. So, as an example of treble, I've got Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. Great track with all that violins, and the violins require good treble, and FA1 really nails this too, you know, in almost any aspect. Of course, you know, it's not some giant killer, it's not like sounding like 10 driver high-end balanced armature, but it's a really enjoyable and really pleasant model. With this model you can experiment with cable, you can buy some other tips to change the sound. They not super responsive to cable rolling and tips changing, but anyway you can alter sound a little bit. They sound really nicely even with modern smartphones, especially with those that has digital to analog converter chips, but with players, for example with M6, they sound really nice, but of course they can benefit from more expensive dub too. Really nice, well balanced, fun V-shaped signature multiplied by balance armature's resolution and speed and level of detailization. At the same time they not absolutely sound dry, not sound clinical, they don't sound thin because they have normal amount of weight in different parts of sonic spectrum, so really enjoyable model. And briefly, you know, just a few words about comparison. I simply want to show you FA7. As you can see, cases are almost the same color, similar face plates with a bit different accents. So there are a lot of models in $100 range, but vast majority of them are dynamic driver or sometimes hybrid model. There is not much single dynamic or single balanced armature models. Recently I've tested Brainwav's coil, but FiiO's FA1 tuned more natural, so they perform definitely better. They cost a bit more, but performance is also better. And I think, you know, honestly it's not fair to compare dynamic driver models with balanced armatures, because balanced armatures usually will be a bit more resolving, a bit faster, and with a bit different accents. So for example, Ostri KC09, one of the most popular and one of the most favorite in-ear monitors in $100 price range, they are more weighty, they are a bit less resolving, and so on. And every single model that I can recall, for example iBasso IT01, they are pretty fast and resolving, but not as fast as these ones, for example, and they got more accent on treble, and so on and so forth. So I don't see much reason in comparing. If you need balanced armatures, you have almost no options in this price range. But actually what I want to do is I want to compare them a little bit with FA7. And you know, on the lower part of spectrum, sometimes I prefer FA1 more. Of course, FA7 has great bass with accent, with great weight, with great impact and rumble, but here bass is less present, and it not shadowing mids as in with FA7, for example. So FA7 is more for those who prefer more low frequencies. Of course, on treble FA7 is better, and on the mids and treble here is more refined, more linear, more mature than here, but this low accent require a bit of equalizer work. So, you know, really FiiO did a bit strange thing in terms of marketing, but as a customer I really like that they released this model, because it offers really great signature for those who like resolving in-ear monitors with natural V-shaped tuning, and I can definitely recommend it, especially if you listen to vocal, especially female one, who listen for jazz music, for some classical music, and you're looking for really good in-ear monitors for that, and you want balanced armature representation. Thank you for attention.